Hi, we're Roy and Karen, and this video is our RV bucket list journey.
Now, when I think of that, the first thing I think of, maybe you guys too, is what? They're going to Alaska? Finally?
We'd like to,
No,
but
we're
not this time. Maybe not at any time, but not this time.
What we decided was that for our first retirement extended RV trip, keep in mind, we've never RV'd for longer than 2 weeks. So to pick an Alaska trip that might be 6 months, and we don't even know if we can last a month in the RV and not kill each other.
That might make a good video for you.
I'll try to leave the camera on just in case it happens. But we decided, let's postpone that one. It's also really expensive. When we started doing the budgeting, it came out to be a lot of money. So what we decided is we went back to our bucket list video and what was on there. And two things stood out. One was South Dakota, and the other was Maine. So
Those are not in the same direction from Florida.
So, by the time you watch this video, we will have already done it.
Back.
And we're back in the villages. And what we want to do is we wanted to document what our plan was, let you guys all in on it, and then in the next following weeks, we're going to start putting up those videos of this adventure, and we'll see if everything we planned.
And if we survived 2 months in the RV together, 24/7.
Absolutely. What you're going to see as this video progresses is that Harvest Hosts became a real big part of this trip. Instead of doing Cracker Barrels and Walmarts, we decided that if we were going to try to keep the cost down, that these stops at wineries and breweries and things like that, that was going to help us hopefully control some of the costs. But also, so we didn't have to stay in campgrounds the whole time. That really does give you something different than just hanging out in a campground.
A new experience. These are all new roads for us to travel. So
Yay! Finally. But the other thing I want you to note is that without using this software, RV Trip Wizard, there was no way we would be able to plan something like this.
what a great tool that has made for you to, now that you're retired and you have hours and hours to fill on planning.
But what happens is you make a plan. It's a rough sketch of what you're going to do. And then as you start fine tuning, you just drag and drop things that and add other things in. And as you start booking them and you've got the information, what is our campground? It's another place to keep all that information.
Right.
It also tallies up how much gas you're going to be using, so you can budget that into the equation. So you keep track of your campground costs, your gas costs, and so on and so forth.
And as we get into this and we no longer know what day it is, where we are, where are we going?
It's going to let us know. It's going to say, hey, by the way, today is the 25th of the month, and you're supposed to be here. And at what time? We did have to make some reservations where timing was important. We hit the road, and our first stop is a Harvest Host. And that's Carol's Sausages. Whoever would have thought, as we were planning this trip, that we would stop at a sausage factory on the way?
Not me. I sure was excited when I saw that.
And when I did a little street view on this place, I found out that the world's largest peanut is right down the street. And I'm looking forward to getting you some drone footage. I'm going to do a flyby on that. It just felt like a really not a normal way to start an RV trip.
New and different. We're all about the new and different now.
The next stop is a Harvest Host winery. Not going to make a big deal over that. But then we're going to go to the Great Smoky Mountains.
Haven't been there.
That's our first big stop. One of the things I learned as we were going through this is that in Smoky Mountains, in this one particular campground, there are 8 campsites that are right on a creek. So I put it in the calendar on the day and the time that they were going to release those. And we happened to be in Tarpon Springs that day. What are you going to do? So I got the phone out and I'm refreshing it and I'm saying, okay. And we got one of those campsites. So I booked that for 3 or 4 days or something. And then we'll just go all around Smoky Mountains. But that'll be our
base camp while we
perfect. Thank you.
do our exploring and hiking and checking out all the different loops. And it's just so exciting. And these are popular places. So if you're not diligent about doing what Roy's been doing, you're not getting in.
And this software helped to keep me on track and make sure that, well, as a great example of what it does, it keeps track of the miles in between your stops and also the hours. So it may be only 200 miles, but if that 200 miles is going to take 7 hours, we get to see that in the software and we make adjustments. So our very next stop is only, I think, 3 hours away at another Harvest Host winery, but because it had told me that between Smoky Mountains and our real next stop, which is our friends in Tennessee, was going to be like 8 or 9 hours, we decided to break that up.
Right, and then timing of it, we've been gone over a week now. We have to schedule in the provision and laundry stops.
And that's the other thing I want you to notice on the screen, because we're not going to bring it up again. We're not going to tell you about this. But if you'll notice, there's a Walmart little icon there, and then there's this laundry. And we get to plan those stops, and this software helps us to find where's the laundromat, where is the Walmart so we can do our food shopping everywhere we go. How helpful is that?
And if you haven't figured this out, we are planning kind of people.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that's going to be interesting when you watch the follow-up videos, is because we booked every single night for the next 2 months.
60 nights.
So we'll see. So we visit our friends again. Can't wait to see them. Karen said something to me, this is maybe 20 years ago or so. She said, "What, are our vacations all about food?" And I said, no, they're not all about food, but they are partially about food. If we're going to be somewhere where the iconic food of that state, of that area, is interesting, well, I want to go check it out.
See what it's all about if we've never had it before.
And this is going to come up again on this trip, but we're in Kansas City. We have to stop for barbecue.
We know Texas barbecue.
And
we don't know Kansas City barbecue.
We have to go. So I went looking up the #1 barbecue joint in Kansas City, and we can't get the RV in there. We just can't. It's just not possible. But the #2, no problem. So we're going there, which is Jack Stack's. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Now, we're going up to South Dakota from here. And when we were looking at the map, again, the software is so good at this, we noticed that we're going to swing right by Nebraska and we're going to swing right by Iowa. So I said, we can't check off those states if we don't go into them and stop somewhere. So I went to look up what is the most iconic food in Nebraska. And it's a restaurant called Runza. Do you remember what the the thing is, the food itself.
Renza?
That's the name of the restaurant.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to put a picture up. You'll see the name of it. Then when we got to Iowa, I went looking what's really nearby there, and I found the Jolly Time Popcorn Museum. We're going.
There's always room for popcorn, even
Always.
after eating at Renza.
I remember taking our daughter Bridget to the
Jelly Belly.
the Jelly Belly factory in California. Amazing. I can't wait to go to Jolly Time, and I wish Bridget was with us.
Maybe
We
she'll meet us.
always wish Bridget was with us.
Yeah.
Hey, Bridget, you can bring Taylor. We love your husband.
And the dogs.
Bring them all. Well, then we'll be able to check off Nebraska and Iowa and South Dakota. So our next stop is it's a Corps of Engineer park. We're going to spend a couple of days there. I got a campsite right on the Missouri River or whatever river it is. The reviews of this place were amazing. And then we're going to go check out Sioux Falls. For the falls. There are falls there. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a long video. We're only in like our first week and a half. Now, from there, we're going to stop by the Corn Palace and Wall Drug. And then we're going to do the boondocking on the wall. That's my bucket list thing. That is, you're just outside of Badlands National Park, but it feels like you're in it. And you can just park your RV on the side of the road, and right below you is 200 feet down of Badlands. And they have the bighorn sheep.
We're going to look for the bighorn sheep, and we're going to go out to the prairie dog field, and we're going to be bird watching and coyote watching,
and I think they got buffalo out there, bison also. It's going to be an adventure.
Yeah.
But we're going to spend 2 days just on the wall, just checking it out. And what I'm really hoping for is an amazing, it's going to be dark. There's going to be no moon, I believe. And I want to do a time lapse.
On the night sky.
Yeah, let's see how that looks. I'm looking forward to doing stuff like that and getting the drone out there and sunsets over this amazing scenery.
Maybe a storm will blow through, but we don't want to have that happen. We're on the wall. We might not be able to get out of there.
It gets really
Mess
windy.
up the schedule.
It gets really windy out there, though. Really, really windy. Once you're through Badlands, then you start at the south end in this town called Hot Springs. And right down the street from this campground that we're going to be staying at is the Mammoth Site. And this is where they found hundreds, if not more,
what a discovery.
of mammoths. And it's supposed to be a really incredible museum. And again, it's right down the street. But then you work your way up. And so along this road that we're going to be on is Custer State Park, Wind Cave National Park, Jewel Cave National Park,
Mount
Rushmore, Crazy Horse. There's just so many things. And then you keep going until you hit
Deadwood.
Deadwood and Spearfish Canyon, and there's all these waterfalls. But there's a little town, and it's called Hill City. And the only reason I heard of it was because they had this just unusual winery there. And when I was watching this YouTube video and looking at this wine, I said, we have to go.
Yeah, family owned, been doing this for 130 some odd years.
Yeah, I think 146 years or something like that. It's crazy. So we're going to do that. But when I was looking up, what are the top 10 things to do in Hill City? Basically, it's the winery and this 1880s steam locomotive.
Boy at heart
I
still
love
likes his trains.
I love the choo-choos. I love that. And so we're going to do that.
And when we were planning all this and looking at the map, we're like, well, if we've gone this far, you just go a little bit further and you can see the Devil's
Oh, yeah.
And then you go a little bit further and you can see Glacier National Park and check off another one.
If you've ever seen Close Encounters of the third kind, fourth kind, I don't remember. There's Devil's Tower in Wyoming. So we're going to do a drive-by. Stop there.
Check off another state.
Maybe I can get drone footage of that. I don't think I'll be able to zoom in far enough, but we'll see how that works out. But then, yes, we're going to be going to Glacier National Park. And we were talking about it when we finally made the decision, yes, we're going to do Glacier. We said, we're getting awful close to Alaska.
Yeah, why don't we just go to Banff and then to...
But we controlled ourselves. We've made those reservations. We're going to spend 3 days in Glacier National Park. What you may not know is national park campsites are mainly primitive, meaning no water hookups, no electric hookups. Now, there may be spigots so we can fill our water tanks, and they may have a dump station where we can dump our water.
And you have these tools, these software programs to help you find where can I go to dump if there isn't one in the park? Where can I go to get water? And it's just amazing the work that he's put into all this.
But the thing to keep in mind is that when we are staying someplace where it's primitive like that, and we're going to spend 2 or 3 days, I always make the next stop a nice full hookup campground.
Gotta take a nice long shower, wash my hair.
Exactly. And our next stop is Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota. I could have taken the road through South Dakota, but we'd already just crossed the whole state of South Dakota. So let's move it on up a little bit, go across there, which is also going to take us into Minnesota. But Theodore Roosevelt is again another primitive. I don't even think there's water. It's that primitive. So,
but tons of wildlife.
One of the amazing things about it is, again, we got a waterfront site. It's right on the Little Missouri River. And what people were saying was they woke up in the morning, they looked outside their campground, and they saw wild horses and buffaloes bathing in this river right outside their campground. Somebody else said that in this particular campground, some of the buffaloes came and took a dust bath right in their campsite.
I'm hoping. Come on.
Can't wait. We're going to stop in Fargo, South Dakota. That's going to be our Fargo, North Dakota. It's our first time that we're going to stay in a fairgrounds campground. And then the next day we're going to be in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we're going to stop at the Minnehaha Park. It's a park right on the Mississippi. It's got a waterfall. It's got a dog park. It just seems like a great place to spend the morning, chill, especially when it's going to be a Walmart and laundry day too. And then we're going to drive for like an hour, and I found us a nice winery, Harvest Host. Yeah.
In Wisconsin.
Wisconsin? We're hitting all kinds of new states. It's amazing. Yay. Next stop, like Kansas City, where we went for the barbecue, but we didn't stay. We went to that Corps of Engineer Park later that evening. We're making a stop for dinner in Chicago. We've been watching a lot of videos on what is the best deep dish pizza in Chicago. And we have decided Lou Maltinati's, that's the one. We'll describe it to you later once we're sitting there and we're eating it.
If we can move or talk after that.
But it sounds terrific, and we found that they got lots of locations. We found this one particular location where RV parking shouldn't be a problem. It's not in Chicago proper. We're really excited about this. But after that, where we're spending the night. And actually the next 2 nights is the Indiana Dunes. Indiana Dunes National Park. We're actually going to stay in the state campground because it's got hookups. But it's the state park and the national park are all connected, but the campground is state. And this looks amazing.
Right.
And we never heard of these things. Looking for places to stay along the way, because you can't just drive from Chicago to Maine.
Well, you could, but why?
So we want to see things. We want to check it out. And we're finding things we'd never heard of. Like Cuyahoga, what's it called? Cuyahoga Falls National Park. I didn't know there was a national park in Ohio. This looks great. And again, we didn't know. So initially we were thinking, okay, let's just go there and spend one night and we'll see it. And that'll be that.
Then as we do some research and look into it, it's like, no, I want to explore that hike and go through that area and take some time. And
this is an amazing national park. I'm sure I'm showing them the pictures of this, and everyone's going to agree, yes, you need to spend 3 days so you can see all of this. But now we're coming to another great stop. When you and I, back in 2018, we took this little vacation. We rented a car
we flew from Austin into
Cleveland. And we did the Fall Colors Tour. We just made this route. We drove from Ohio to Boston and around, and we just made stops all along the way.
Checked off a bucket list item for me way back then. And
one of the things that was so much fun was when we just coincidentally stopped in the Finger Lakes in New York. It was so gorgeous, and we stopped. We had our first wine slushy. So we said, let's spend a week here. I think we're spending 4 days here. Part of the time we'll be in the Corps of Engineer Park.
Actually in Pennsylvania.
And it's close. But it's also right by Watkins Glen. If you've never heard of it, you will, when we get to that in the video, you will love this. It is such a gorgeous place. But it's hiking to waterfalls that we're going to do, and it's doing wineries along the Finger Lakes. We're going to have fun.
We are.
It's not very far from New York to Maine. And that's our next stop. We got a campground. I forget what it's called. Wild something. I don't know. It's up on the screen anyway, so you can see it up there. But we're going to spend 3 days in this campground just outside of Portland, Maine. And there's so much stuff to do.
Yeah, that's where we're going to see Kennebunkport and all these areas down there. Have lunch with a friend from school.
One of my high school buddies moved to Maine, so we're going to meet him. And we watched a lot of videos. If you're in Maine, you got to have lobster. Where should we go? And you want to go where the locals are telling you to go. And I think we found a place. I don't want to say anything yet because you never know. Especially when my high school buddy might say, no, this is the place we need to go. Right. So I want to play this one by ear. So we've got 9 days in Maine. And we're going to spend 3 of them in the Portland, Maine area, 3 of them in Camden, which is near Rockport. And so that allows us to check out that area. And then we're going to have 3 days in Acadia National Park. I don't know where we're going to do certain things. Like I want to go out on a boat tour. I want to go whale watching or puffin watching or whatever. So we'll figure that out. We're going to play those kind of things by ear. You can't play everything.
And you can only eat so much lobster. You have to do other activities.
I've got it in the budget for lobster. The bucket list was South Dakota and Maine. And so once we hit Maine, that was it. We were going to start to work our way back down.
But then you look at the map and you go, well, we've gone this far, and the Bay of Fundy is only right here, 3.5 hours away. We could go to Canada.
So we're going to Canada, which involves a lot of stuff. Like you can't bring any food in, and make sure we have to have bear spray for some of the places that we're going in the United States. We're probably going to need it up in Canada too. And you have to get the right kind that Canada approves, and it's coming.
Yeah, make sure the dogs have all their records and
you gotta
forms are filled out.
And it turns out it's harder to bring the dogs back into the United States than it is to get them into Canada. But we got that all covered.
And they will be coming back with
They
us.
will. My boy is not staying behind. Now, your boy, you know.
Oh.
We love them. It's a joke. So if you don't know what the Bay of Fundy is, it's got the world's, largest tide. It could be anywhere from 30 to 50 feet. When the tide goes out, all the boats get stranded in the mud.
They're sitting on blocks waiting for the tide to come back in again so the fishermen can go out.
Yeah, one of the places that we're going to go is Hopewell Rocks. Mm-hmm. And it's weird because you got these rocks, and when you get there at low tide and you can see the bottom, they're just giant towers of rocks with grass growing on the top.
Trees.
And then when high tide comes in, the rock's gone, and all you see is the very top of it where the grass is growing. Mm-hmm. It's just a fascinating place.
We can't wait to explore all this. We've been investigating. It's like we don't want to go all that way and miss something. We have to make sure, and we'll be talking to all the locals to get their tips on what we should see and do, and
absolutely
trying to leave enough space in there to be able to do these things.
So we're going to stay at our first Canada National Park. Fundy National Park. I think you'll probably see on the map where we found a Walmart. Once we're a couple of hours into Canada, we'll stop at the Walmart there so we can provision exactly. Because again, you can't bring any food in. At least no fresh food and no meat, even if it's cooked.
We can't go without food.
Now, the other thing that happens with the tide, besides it being 50 feet, is there's this thing called the boar tide. And I'm going to show you a video of this. It's so weird. I know they have it in Alaska also. I don't know if they have it anywhere else. But basically, the tide comes in and then it rolls above a river. And you can watch it coming in, and you can actually surf on this.
People surfing it and rafting on it, and maybe we'll do that.
Maybe. We watched this YouTube couple who found a place that you can legally stay overnight right by one of the lighthouses over there. I was like, okay, let's just go there.
Yeah. And they found a great lobster restaurant, seafood restaurant, where caves are, and this beach, and there's just so much to do.
Yeah, that is where we're going to stay on our final night in the Bay of Fundy, and then we're back in the United States. We'll be back in Maine with the boys. We are going to stay at another Harvest Host in Booth Bay Harbor.
Very popular place, and
looks.
Can't wait to see that.
Another amazing Maine town. And then it's on our way to Williamsburg, Virginia, and Jamestown. These are like the original first colonies in the United States. Karen is from the West Coast. She hasn't seen these things. So I wanted to make sure I took her to some of these really historic, really iconic places.
But I had done that family tree and found the family in Maine and lost the trail, but I think it picked up in Williamsburg. So I want to go see all this area because it's got roots there, I think.
You can't get from Maine to Virginia in one day, so we're going to stay in Delaware. I found this really cool campsite there. And then I went looking up what is the iconic food for Delaware. Now, I would have thought soft shell crab.
Some kind of seafood.
Because you're right there on the Chesapeake Bay. But it turns out it's French fries with vinegar.
Okay, I'll eat that.
And when I started searching, because I didn't believe it, the first time it came up, I said, no, that can't be. That cannot be the Delaware most iconic food. Every website I went to said the same thing. And it said, you got to go to Thrasher's.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to go to Thrasher's.
We're going to go to Thrasher's and we're going to have French fries with vinegar. And some of you might be from Delaware and you're going to be saying, yes, I'm so glad to hear you're going there. But some of you might say, no, you need to go here. It's too late. We've already been.
We missed out.
Remember, we recorded this video months ago. We're already back in the villages by the time you see this. Too late. Maybe we'll go back to Delaware. Tell us where to go. We're going to stop at some beach locations on the way. But as we're heading towards Virginia, there's a lot of beautiful beaches in Delaware. We want to stop and smell the roses. I'm not going to tell you about Williamsburg and Jamestown because we'll show you all that on the next videos. But I got to tell you, we are very close to home. I'm down the bottom of the page right now. For the next couple of days, we're going to stop in South Carolina. Found a nice, what used to be a Corps of Engineer park right on the lake. Now it's a South Carolina State Park, but it just looks beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it's like, let's not go home for the 4th of July. Let's be somewhere in the countryside. So that's what we did. But we make it back to the villages. Theoretically, we arrived back home on July 6th or 7th. And you're probably watching this on the closest Sunday to that. We'll see.
But it'll be quite the journey for us, and we're hoping you'll come along with us because we're going to share it all with you when we get back.
Now, if you want to watch that bucket list video we were just talking about, I'm going to put it right here so you can get your memory refreshed on what else is on that list. In the meantime,
we appreciate you traveling with us.
See ya.